So coastal schools are gearing up to open tomorrow. There are fears the placement nightmare experience in Gauteng may be repeated in the Western Cape. Now, last week, parents struggling to get places for their children descended on the Education Department. It says most of those not placed are due to late applications. The online application process for grade 1 and 8 learners closed at the end of August. eNCA senior reporter Aviwe Mtila joins us with the very latest. Aviwe, when we spoke earlier, parents were disheartened. The queues were snaking. What is the latest now?
Not much has changed when it comes to those snaking queues, Mfundo, as the parents keep on trickling in. They're in their hundreds outside the district offices here in the Department of Education, and we've actually spoken to some of those we touched on at that earlier crossing. They've already come out and they say that now they're told to go back to those particular schools that they applied in and find out why their details and data has been captured or why they've been rejected in those particular schools. Some of them tell us that, in fact, they're told to come back in February only. So you can only imagine the frustrations then in some of these parents not knowing what they'll do with some of their children up until February. In fact, I'm going to keep on catching up with the parents on the ground here to try and gauge what the exact issues are. Because it seems, Mfundo, that similar complaint that we heard a week ago as the inland schools open, especially in Gauteng, around the online application continues to persist. We are at the Parrot District offices. Yeah, Mama, thank you for joining us at eNCA. We know what are the problems?
Enkosi ingxaki yam ndibhalise umntana last year. I think earlier kuba kuzovalwa bakuthiwa makubhaliswe abantwana. Ndambhalisa umntana then ndifumene imessage ethi ucaptured kwizikolo ezintathu. Then ndandilinde imessage ezophinde indixelele uba ucapturishwe kwesiphi isikolo, but xa ndenza i-follow up ndisiya kwezi zikolo bathi akaveli kwisystem. So that's why ndilapha ngoku, and ndi-worried because abantwana kwindawo endihlala kuyi-rest yaba bazifumenanga isikolo ngale meko ndithetha ngayo, which is iyasisokolisa into yoba si-aplaye online. I think ibibhetere ngoba si-aplaya siyangqoya esikolweni, siyo-aplaya phaya. Ngoku kubuhlungu because last year ndinomntana bengakhange afunde. Uye wareyitshwa uye wareyitshwa umntanam, then loo nto ibiphantsi kwe-social workers. Then nangoku I'm worried because ngumntana oyintombazana lona ngoku ongazosifumana isikolo again. That's why ndilapha.
A heartbreaking story of how one of her children, Mfundo, didn't go to school last year and ended up being raped because she stayed at home. She's facing similar problems now, suggesting that the online system is failing them here in the Western Cape. She applied at 3 different schools and was told that the daughter is captured, but they couldn't find those documentations within the system. She's back in the queues, worried about what will happen with another girl child of hers. Siswam, uzothini ngoku masiphinde siqale nalo mntana lo uthi wenzekelele intlekele uaplaye online ayibi into eyi-1?
Yeah, bendiaplaye online, then kasifumana isikolo ndizathi ngumntana kasister wam, but sister wam ebengaphangeli uyosifumana kwalanga isikolo, but ke ngoku besibethwa yitransport thina besimfumanela isikolo esiloka silapha kwindawo endihlala kuyo, but khange simfumanele. Then wafumana loo ngxaki ke ngoku umntana, but then ebesesendlini zange ndisifumane isikolo.
Just recapturing that tragic ordeal that they went through as a family. That was her sister's child who didn't get a placement at a nearby school, got a placement in far away Langa, where they couldn't, of course, afford the transportation there. Hence, she had to stay at home and ended up being raped. Some of those tragic incidents that we're actually hearing on the ground here. Siswam, when you've been inside, what are they telling you inside?
Ngaphakathi bathi bakumandilinde ndi-aplaye last year ngo-December. Ngoku isikolo esi-1 siphendulile imanzi omthombo ithi i-answers zesikolo so igcwele yona, then ezintathu azikaphenduli, so I have to wait ndilinde into endingayaziyo phofu ngoba senoba basenongathathwa nakuzo.
Have they given you a direction or indication of how long you have to wait, given that the schools are opening tomorrow?
Abatshonga uba ndilinde for how long. Bandixelela uba mandihlale but ndenze i-follow up, ndiye kwezi zikolo ndimane ndiyobuza. Andikho sure uba izothatha ixesha elingakanani loo nto leyo.
Okay, Mfundo, she's told that she has to, in fact, keep on waiting, going back to the schools herself to find out if the child has been accepted at these schools. This says the coastal schools are already opening tomorrow. She's one of the late applications, admitting that she applied late in December. Remember, the schools in the Western Cape, the applications online already closed on the 15th of April, and we are told in the statement released by the MEC here of Education that some 25,000 people then applied thereafter. Extremely late applications. If I have that exact number, I think it's a 217 extreme late applications. Those are the applications that applied in December, and the majority of the parents here that are outside are some of those late applications. But there are also those that applied timely, Mfundo. We heard one of the parents that we were speaking to a bit earlier on mentioning that she applied to 10 different schools, not successful in any of them without being given a reason. Hence now she's frantically panicking, hoping that her daughter will be one of those that go to schools tomorrow as the coastal schools open.
The confusing part is now that they're being redirected back to those schools to say, go and get the reasons as to why your child wasn't admitted, which is very confusing. If we just look at the reportage from last week when we were dealing with Gauteng and you were on the ground, it seemed everybody was being removed to the schools and sent to the department. But now there, you're saying that the department is sending them back to the schools.
It's a different message that we're getting in the Western Cape, and several parents have told me that here they're told to go back to the exact schools and find out the reasoning why their children haven't been successful in those schools. In fact, some of them have been told that they'll even come back to the district in February only. You can only imagine what will happen then to those parents, as you do understand they've got work commitments. How will they then be able to keep their children at home? We heard that last parent that we spoke to here mentioning that she has to go back to the individual schools to find out why her child hasn't been successful and follow up with the exact school. So you wonder what the role then of the district department is and the Department of Education itself in the Western Cape, if it's then referring the parents back to the schools.